Good morning, fans of the new network. It's James Ernest of Sarah's Playlist. Joining us today is Molly Diago. She's an alternative country indie pop artist from New York, also active rock. So a little bit of everything. We're going to try to narrow down what type of style of music she does, because she does so many of them so well. Molly, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. What inspired you to pick up that electric guitar back in elementary?
I went to a really awesome arena rock concert and I decided that I wanted to be like the guys on stage. And so I asked for a guitar for my birthday shortly after, and I got one, and it's kind of been going ever since.
Nice. And then, of course, early on, you had your band,
Pacinello, yeah.
Pacinello. There you go. So, what was that like, being a part of a band so early on?
It was fun. It was exciting. It was in I want to say I was in high school at the time, and it started out as very much, like a garage band. And we got lucky because we got signed by a company called Arrowhead Records at the time, which is now Rock Rage Radio, actually. They went into radio. And we got to, tour a little bit. We got to play with some big bands, which was fun. And I definitely learned a lot from the experience. And it kind of, got me hooked on music.
Well, I was going to say it's worked out great for you. Tell us about that transition from the garage anthems to the grand stage.
Yeah, well, I think at the time I thought it was, smooth, but watching back videos, it wasn't as smooth. I think that everything really happened quickly with that band, which was awesome. But at the same time, like we were really green, and we're put into different situations where we had to learn really quickly how to get better and how to play, to larger audiences and connect with the people, which was, it was an awesome experience all the way around for sure. And like I said, we were kind of thrown into it, but all in all, it was exciting, and there's really never a dull moment.
For a while there in your music career, it kind of felt like you were the hired gun. Everyone's like, hey, we got to bring her in. She's phenomenal. We want her to be a part of the team. Tell us about some of those people that you were a hired gun for.
Yeah, so after Pacinello kind of was over, I really wanted to dedicate myself to being a guitar player. And so I ended up sort of somehow meeting Chris Caffrey, who he is a guitar player for Savatage and the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and he mentored me quite a bit in terms of my playing and also the industry a little bit. And I was able to sort of link up with a manager who was really well connected at the time. And this was also a time where a lot of sort of solo artists were sort of, it was becoming a thing, right? Because I think, I don't know, when I grew up in, of course, the 90s and 2000s, it was all like, bands were bands. But now, and
Exactly.
even now, like you see a lot of solo artists, right? So all of those solo artists need backing bands. And so I kind of got into that, and I've floated around between different genres, which was fun. And then eventually I decided that I wanted to be my own boss. And the only way to do that was to start singing. So that's kind of how I transitioned, from guitar player, which I had a lot of awesome opportunities, into what you see today with the whole solo project. Now I am that solo artist with hired guns, that support me.
Nice.
And yeah, so it was definitely full circle, at this point, I would say.
So, were you at the same time you were studying for your law degree, studying how to be a vocalist?
Yeah, exactly. It
Oh
was
my.
uh it was crazy, right? And I went to a law school who was really accepting of what I was doing, which was helpful because obviously in law school you're supposed to sort of be there and be present every single day for hours and hours on end. And they were flexible with me, so I could continue, touring and doing musical stuff, and which was great and unexpected. And so law school is definitely hard because I was all over the place. That really, I was only there, on a good week, 2 days. And I did a lot of it virtually, which was, thankful that I'm growing up in a time where technology allows us to do that. And then when it came time to take the bar, literally like you have to prep for the bar for like 3 months, do nothing but study. And during my prep time, I was actually on tour with a band called The Killer's Confession. Also awesome. But I just remember the experience, like we'd be in the hotel room and I'd be on the computer, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. until it was time to sound check. So it was definitely a wild experience, but I'm happy that I did it, now.
That is so awesome. And then the success of that, I mean, you've been able to help out so many other artists, you've been able to help out so many other so many charities. That's definitely paid off.
Yeah, for sure. I get calls all the time from actually really, really, artists that I look up to. Because there's always drama in music and there's always, sort of legalities that come into play. So it's definitely come in handy a lot of times now, being an actual, licensed attorney and doing this. But it's also very nice to say that, attorney is really my backup and I've been able to, pursue my passion sort of as a career for all these years.
Exactly. It's always good to have a solid backup and shoot with that. I'm sure you were probably able to do your own contract instead of having someone else do it for you.
Exactly. And when I signed with Wake Up Music Group about a year ago, and it was a different experience than what I was used to before in terms of contract and negotiation because like I was almost afraid that people would be scared away from negotiating with me just because, there was no sort of getting one over, if you will, but they were great and they were really respectful and appreciated sort of my skill, I guess, in that regard and listened to me, which is really important. And I've been really supported ever since by them, both legally and musically.
Awesome. And you've been able to work with some really great people in the industry. Waylon Reavis was part of that first solo of yours, Lifetime.
Yep.
Um, how was that working with him?
It was awesome. He was great. That was the first track I put out. And originally the duet was supposed to be with me and Hugo Ferreira, who's the lead singer of a band called Tantric. That was chaotic in itself, and it came a time where I needed to find a replacement. And Waylon, he heard about the situation. It was a bad situation, and he really stepped up and wanted to make sure that my first taste, as a vocalist wasn't completely destroyed. So he was amazing. He's still like to this day, I'll always sing his praises because he really, really is a really compassionate guy, which is funny because the guy screaming on stage in a crazy mask is, only a very small piece of him, and he's a great guy, off stage. So I've been able to remain great friends with him and his family. His wife is someone I talk to all the time, and it was a really great welcoming for me in the door of music, to work with someone who was just such a wonderful person.
That is awesome. And then the other really cool part is I understand you were able to record that in just one day.
Yeah, it was quick. It was like 4 hours. I flew to Detroit and I had no song, when I stepped off the plane. And I worked with a producer called Chuck Alkazian. He's a great guy. Has worked with a lot of amazing rock, bands and groups. And he was, we came in, we sat at the board. I had a little guitar riff and we just built something really fast. And to this day, it's still definitely one of my favorite songs I've ever done.
Oh yeah, it's a phenomenal song. I was going to say, shoot, fans love it, and I mean, it's just really inspiring. Um, how do you, how did it feel for Lifetime to chart on 10 different countries internationally in both pop and rock? I mean, gosh, I mean, it was beloved everywhere. It felt like.
Yeah, it was awesome. The company that was supporting me at the time, we were supposed to go on a tour in Europe with Waylon's band. And so we decided the tour was like, I don't know, it was going to be a few weeks after the song came out. So we decided to do press internationally versus just in the US. So when we did that, like a lot of different, radio stations over there picked up the song and liked it. For it was it's a dynamic song. It's a guy and a girl duet, which you don't have a lot in rock. And then of course Waylon, is a really, really loved sort of singer over there. So It was definitely awesome, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I think it was sort of I don't know, it was weird because I was used to being the guitar player, so to see my name on a chart for the first time, it was super exciting, regardless of what country it was in.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, shoot, your guitar playing is amazing. And now that you're
Thank you.
doing the singing, welcome. But yeah, it's just great also how you've been able to seamlessly work with some other great artists as well. And like someone just like you, who did you collaborate on that one?
Someone just like wow, it was so the main proponent of that song was both myself and Miles Claiborne. Miles is a drummer for Saul, which is another rock band, that's constantly charting. And he's just started producing bands about a year or two ago, and he has such a talent for it. Like he's a brilliant, brilliant producer. And so he had a track, like just an instrumental. It had a little riff, and I love the riff. And I said, Miles, I want to do this song. And so, within a day or two, working virtually because he's 1,000 miles away from where I am, we put together a song, and then I went into the studio and sang it, and it was really seamless and easy. And I worked with a vocal producer here where I'm from, near Boston, called Dirt Floor, which is an amazing studio. And it was just always like all my songs, it was a sort of a team effort. And the label really liked it and wanted to support it as my first, active rock release with them. So the song didn't exist like 2 months ago. So again, it was another it
Oh,
was
wow.
another fast process. Because a lot of times, when you go into the studio and you have a song, okay, month or two of getting that sort of figured out, vetted, getting the label to approve it. Then you have to sort of do a ramp up period with press, which in itself is 6 or 8 weeks. So this again was something that, came together really quick. And I think that things can be successful that way as long as, everybody, I don't know, is into it, and they seem to be into it with this song. So I appreciated it, quite a bit.
How are you able to blend the soulful melodies with your meaningful lyrics?
Ooh, I don't know. It just sort of happens, it just sort of happens. And also, like I said, I work with great producers and a whole team of people who are really, I guess again, giving me pointers, tips and stuff because I'm still new as a vocalist. And I think the other thing is with the lyrics, you have to, as a singer, and this is something that actually Waylon gave me this advice, you have to sell what you're singing or else people aren't going to want to listen, which is so true. And this song is about, a super personal experience that I had, a very bad experience, but I was able to channel that, with the lyrics. And then, I guess soulful melody is a really, really nice, sweet way to put it. Thank you for that. Again, it's just a lot of emotion, really singing the lyrics with emotion. I think it does the song more of a service to really mean what you're saying.
Oh, definitely. And the music video is amazing. Shoot, gosh, I mean, you look just awesome in it, being so action packed and all. Jesse Bond, I mean, the amazing job that he did on it. I mean, it doesn't get much
It
better than
was
that.
phenomenal. Yeah, it was really cool to see myself as, an action hero or maybe a villain, but either way, it was cool to see to see yourself as a cartoon. And I mean, he spent this project in this video, like even though the song is new, I've been working with him on putting out, sort of an animated video for years. And the video is meant for another song originally, but it was based off the same story. Like the song, sorry, to backtrack for a second, but the song is about there was a relationship in my life, a professional relationship that I had for many, many years, and constantly it was chaos, like good things and bad things, ups and downs all the time until eventually one day last year I said, okay, enough. I was done with it, and that's sort of how the song came about. And Jesse was working on this video for another song I wrote about the same situation, same person, years ago. So the fact that it's still kind of applied to the song, we're super lucky. But Jesse is phenomenal, and I found his work on YouTube one day, and I had to have it. So years in the making, we finally see the day of light with it. So I loved it. I thought it was great, and I'm super super appreciative. I know someone who has that caliber talent, in terms of animation. So it was great.
Exactly. I mean, the quality level on it felt like Pixar, Disney, that kind of thing, as opposed to, yeah, yeah. I mean, it just, I mean, it was phenomenal. So have you blown up a couple of the pictures and turned that into a display on the wall?
Oh yeah, of course. Especially like, I don't know. I just not only was I like some sort of, futuristic crazy chick with a spaceship, but the whole karate thing and the Roman Empire thing, I loved all of it. It was amazing and absolutely I will cherish those stills forever.
Definitely. I thought it had a very cinematic feel to it. I kind of felt like it reminded me of Kill Bill.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, for sure. And I think the sentiment was the same for sure.
Awesome. Well, it has been a pleasure having you on the show, talking about your music. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where is the best place for our listeners to find out more about you?
Everywhere. So I think on all the socials, I'm at Molly Diago, Dago. And you can also check us out at mollydiago.com. And then, of course, anywhere music is streamed, check us out. We love to hear, what you think. We love to, chat with you, anything. We're here for you. So I look forward to, hopefully seeing a lot of new faces from this. And I really appreciate your time today. And thank you for having me.
My pleasure.